Developing and investing in a new healthcare facility can be a great way to control the destiny of your practice, create tax benefits, and create ancillary revenue for your physician partnership. All that in mind, it's critical to understand the processes and potential pitfalls so that you can avoid them in a development process. In collaboration with Ted Baker, Senior Vice President of Cornerstone Companies, a nationally recognized developer and investor in medical facilities, will help shed light on some of the components of a development transaction to ensure you can create a successful outcome. So now that we've talked about the objectives of a development and why a physician group might embark on one, we're going to talk about the players involved, the team that you build to help make sure that project is successful. So Ted, can you give us a little bit of insight in terms of the folks involved in a development project?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Colin. And really, when we think about teams or those involved in a development project, you really want to think about two different sets of teams. So originally you got the internal team. Who are the internal decision makers, the critical decision makers involved, whether that's a CEO or a practice admin, the executive team or executive leadership from the physician side, really understanding who from the internal side is driving the process really on behalf of the broader practice.
Okay.
In addition to the internal team, then you've got the other constituents involved from your architects, your engineers, your contractors, your lenders, really a broad-based team that all come together in some form or fashion to accomplish the project at hand.
So Ted, you talked about the internal team and perhaps the C-suite or the executives that are involved on the inside of the practice. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Who's best selected or who's best suited? Is it a physician? Is it a combination of physician and executive, or what?
I think that's a great question, Colin. And really what we see is a smaller group combined of physicians, executives, operations, clinical strategy that come together as key decision makers that are making decisions on behalf of the broader practice. I guess you know well, in many situations, if you get a lot of folks involved in a decision, it can become very stagnant or slow or honestly hinder the process in and of itself.
Sure.
So I think finding a small council or subset of group of people within the organization that can represent their respective teams to come together as the collective decision maker, that's where we see the most success and the most cohesiveness in order to get a project done.
And on top of that, what I hear you saying is, perhaps for a larger physician group, but we've worked with plenty of smaller groups who don't really have a C-suite. So in the case of a practice like that, your company may just be working directly with the alpha doc or the lead physician.
Yeah, that's a great point. There's physician groups of all different sizes interested in developing real estate. So whether it's a smaller group with a doc, a few docs, having those key components or key leaders all together, all aligned, is ultimately what will drive a successful outcome.
Now, it sounds like this is a pretty extensive process. It sounds like there's a variety of players involved. Is it realistic for a physician group to say, hey, on top of running our practice, on top of handling HR and billing, and not to mention seeing patients, is it realistic for a physician group to be able to manage all those external players?
Yeah, I think every group is different. Every group has different specialties, different C-suite. But ultimately what we say is physicians are best left to provide care to their patients. And hiring an outside advisor, consultant, developer, whatever it may be, someone that has experience in leading all aspects of the project, leading all of those different team members to ensure the process is smooth, to ensure there are no pitfalls, and to ensure at the end of the day successful delivery of a site that will enable them to provide better care to their patients.
Right. So what I hear from you is, hey, a physician group, if they're properly structured or if they have the right folks that are overseeing a project, they probably could develop a building on their own. And that might be okay, but there's alternatives out there and folks like yourself who might be able to lead the development process to make it a smoother overall endeavor and hopefully a more successful outcome for the physician group.
I would agree with that, and we've seen many different structures of how deals get done, but what I would say is no development deal is the same.
Okay.
From site work, environmental work, architecture work, design work, there really is a myriad of factors that go into this. So I think it is critical really to hire someone with that experience who's seen it not one time, not two times, but 50 times, 100 times, to understand where those pitfalls may lie, navigate those, all while still maintaining active and constant communication with the internal team to ensure the goal is achieved in an efficient manner.
That makes a lot of sense, Ted. Well, I appreciate you sharing all this insight today and helping us develop the players in a team and how a project can be made more successful.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Collin.